Hi everyone, I'm Miss Haley and I'm one of 4 naturalists with Harris County Precinct One's environmental education programs. In today's video, we're going to be learning about some of my favorite animals, amphibians. So let's get started. So what is an amphibian? Well, amphibians are animals like frogs, toads, salamanders, and caecilians. They're cold-blooded vertebrates that spend part of their lives in the water and part of their lives on land. In fact, the word amphibian actually means 2 lives. Amphibians will lay jelly-like eggs in water or moist soil, and when the eggs hatch, a small baby that typically looks nothing like its parents emerges. Frog and toad babies are called tadpoles, while salamander babies are called efts. In the larval stage, these babies are built for life in the water. They have a tail for swimming and no legs at first. They look a lot more like fish than they do anything else. They even have gills to help them breathe underwater. For frogs and toads, these gills are internal, you cannot see them. But for amphibians like salamanders, they are external. They look like a feathered crown growing out of the baby's head. Well, since they have such tiny mouths at first, most amphibian babies are herbivores, feeding primarily on algae and other plant matter. Now, as these babies eat and grow, their features begin to change as they undergo a process called metamorphosis. Some features, such as the tail and gills, will begin to minimize and eventually disappear, while other characteristics, like lungs and limbs, will begin to develop. As they change, so does their appetite. They will begin to eat more of a variety of plants and insects. If food is scarce, they may even eat each other. Ew, right? Eventually, most babies will emerge onto land fully equipped with all the features of their parents and ready to face the world. Adult amphibians are strictly carnivores, eating only meat, mostly insects, but also worms, spiders, fish, small rodents, and even small birds depending on the amphibian's size. The largest amphibian in the world is the giant Chinese salamander. It can grow up to a length of 4 to 6 feet long and weigh up to 100 pounds. Now, amphibian skin is very special. Other than maybe having a coat of slime that might protect their skin from bacteria, amphibians do not have any particular body covering. In fact, their skin is incredibly thin. It's so thin that almost anything can pass through it, like water and air. And believe it or not, they actually do most of their drinking and breathing through their skin. Because of this, amphibians are often what we call environmental indicators. They can give us an idea of how healthy their ecosystem is simply by being present. Let me explain what I mean. If you go outside on a warm summer night and hear lots of frogs and toads calling out, then you can probably bet that there's plenty of water in your neighborhood and that water is most likely clean. But if by the next summer you don't hear any frogs and toads calling anymore, then that can tell you that either the water in your area had dried up, maybe due to development or a drought, or if there is still plenty of water, it might tell you that the water may be polluted. Amphibians need clean water to live in, so if their home gets dirty, they will either move away or just simply die off. There are several different types of amphibians here around the Houston area, and today I have 3 that I would like to introduce to you. The first one is a frog that is often seen hanging out on the sides of houses, on windows, or hiding on a large blade of grass. Can you guess what kind of frog it is? It's a green tree frog. There are a handful of frog species in our area, like the squirrel tree frog, the cricket frog, and the leopard frog, to name a few, but you can tell that this is a green tree frog based on its color and size. Green tree frogs are typically green with a light yellow stripe running down their sides, but they can change to a brown or gray color in order to camouflage and in order to regulate their body temperatures. Notice how smooth and slimy its skin is. As I mentioned earlier, this is necessary for keeping bacteria out of their bodies. Green tree frogs also have suction-like toe pads that can help them climb. Another way you can tell the difference among frogs is by their call. The green tree frog makes a sound similar to a cowbell. Next, let's meet a toad. This is the Gulf Coast toad, and if you see a toad hopping around your yard or tucked in a crevice, it is most likely this one. Gulf Coast toads are typically dark brown to olive green with a yellow stripe running down the middle. They have a triangular bump on each side behind their eyes that's called a parotoid gland, and that produces a milky poison that can irritate or even kill some predators, but it doesn't really affect people. Now, toads often have drier, bumpy skin, especially compared to a frog. Toads are not great climbers like frogs, and they like to stay on the ground where they can burrow under dirt or grass. Their call is also easy to recognize. It's a sharp trill. The last amphibian I have for today is a tiger salamander. Although tiger salamanders are native to this area, it's uncommon to see one since they are primarily nocturnal creatures who burrow under the substrate and usually only come out to eat. They are dark in color with yellow stripes along their body. Now, a really cool fun fact about salamanders is that if they lose a limb, they actually have the ability to regrow that limb. So now that you know a little bit about amphibians, let's hop on over to make one of our very own. For today's craft, we're going to be making a fly-catching frog. So some of the supplies that you will need for this are toilet paper rolls, or you can get a paper towel roll and cut it to your desired length. You're going to need a piece of paper and a pencil, some googly eyes, scissors, glue, tape, markers, string, any kind of string or yarn, and you can get little critters, little bugs at any supply store or craft store, or you can even make your own out of construction paper or cardstock. So to start, you'll take your toilet paper roll and you're going to squeeze one end of it. Now you can tape this shut or staple it or glue it, whatever works for you. I taped mine so that it looks like this. Next, you're gonna get your markers or paint, whatever you want to use, and color your frog. You can make it green like mine, or you can make it wild colored, however you want to decorate your frog. After he's nice and colored, you can draw some arms and legs for your frog. You can even draw the arms and legs onto your toilet paper roll, so it just looks like he's got arms and legs on his body. Now after you get the arms and legs on, or draw them on, you're gonna take some googly eyes and glue those on, and then you're gonna cut some string and you can tape it or glue it into his mouth. After that, you can add your bug onto the end of your string. I tied mine. You could glue it or tape it, whatever works best for you. And then you have a fun little game of catch the fly. Might take a couple tries, but in no time, you will master it. Thanks for crafting with me. All right, everyone, I hope you had fun learning about and getting to meet some frogs, toads, and other cool amphibians. And if you liked today's video, go ahead and hit the like button, or you can subscribe to our channel to be notified about more of our naturalist videos. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me at haley.martinez@cp1.hctx.net. Until then, see you next time.